you know, citizens are forced to ask, how did we get here? How did we get here? If Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder today. All right, then, other stories to pick from in the Daily Post include this one. Finland charges Simon Ekpa with inciting terrorism. Okay. That's another interesting read for you. Get the details in the Daily Post for today. Okay, we have many more stories to share here with you. While we are tolling Nigerian roads, Minister of Works Dr. Umahi is telling us why Nigerian roads must be tolled. Yeah. Tolling reminds one of days of yore in the 70s, 80s when we tolled roads in our country. Okay, killer herdsmen must leave Benue, Tortib tells Macban. You know, Tortib is the traditional head of the Tib people of Benue State. He is saying killer herdsmen must leave Benue. All right. Inflation. Tinubu's hard decisions beginning to bear fruits. Nigerian government is telling us. The government had to take tough decisions so as to get Nigeria out of the economic woods, so to speak. UTME 2025, JAM introduces Emergency Support Center for candidates. These are not the best of days for the examiner or the examined, so to speak, if you understand what I mean. So, JAM is trying to up the ante. It has introduced Emergency Support Center for candidates. Okay. FAAC, that's the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. Nigerian government, states, local government share 1.681 trillion naira in April. So, when you are told Nigeria is poor, some of us ask that we think again. So the FAAC, you know what it does, has shared 1.681 trillion naira for the month of April amongst the three tiers, the federal government, states, and local governments. Okay. There'll be nothing like political parties in 2027. This is coming from the Senate President. Why is he saying this? And what are the dynamics? What do you know? Please get a copy of the Daily Post. Swat the story. That takes a lot of doubt and unclear details away. Okay. 2027, PDP will lose its remaining states if Atiku runs. Party chieftain Anakwanze is telling you and I that. Is he right? Is he wrong? Again, read the stories in the Daily Post for today before you run to conclusion, before you jump to conclusion. Okay, then, let's move to the Punch now, and take your time from us. Just gone 9 minutes past 7 on the VOP 90.3 FM on the dial. And the next paper here would be the Punch. What I just told you in the Daily Post is making the lead entry here. There'll be nothing like political parties in 2027. So what is the number 3 citizen, the Senate President, telling us here? Don't jump to conclusion. Get the details in the Punch this morning. U.S. Supreme Court blocks Trump's bid to resume Venezuelan deportations. Well, President Donald Trump, it would appear, is learning the hard way that the Constitution is the Bible of leadership in his United States. So the Supreme Court is asking him to apply the brakes regarding Venezuelan deportations. Okay. High expectations on new Chelsea unfair, says Maresca. This is talking football now. The details are in the Punch for today. Tinubu pledges zero tolerance for crime, insurgency in Nigeria. That's the number 1 citizen and Commander-in-Chief belching the position. Tinubu pledges zero tolerance for crime and insurgency in Nigeria. It's also in the Punch. Yeah. Lagos Council Chair backs Obasa's son. Obasa is the Mudashiru Obasa is the Speaker of the Lagos State House, the number 3 citizen in Lagos State. A chairman of council is backing the son to succeed Obasa. I don't know if as Speaker or as a member of the Lagos State House. Again, get the details in the Punch for today. All right. Economic strain. Inflation surges above 30% in Abuja and 10 states. Yeah. Inflation is frightening, as it were. You know, it's frightening. So, what do the figures say? Get the Punch. The details are contained therein. Woman bites off lover's manhood in Rivers during sex dispute. These are crazy times. Sometimes you wonder if what we read in papers are true. The Punch is telling me and you, or you and I, that it is true that a woman bit off the lover's manhood during a sex dispute in Rivers State. You are tempted to think that Rivers has enough on its cup, on its hands, to contend with a story like this. All right, police killed 2 armed hoodlums in Anambra checkpoint attack. The killings happened at a checkpoint. You want to know the place, the location of Anambra State. Get the details in the Punch for today. 5 arrested over 2-week-old baby's sale. Yeah, we're living in interesting times. A 2-week-old baby was sold. 5 people have been arrested regarding this. What state, what environment, you find out. That's the essence of this show. Which is telling you that both the electronic medium of radio is asking you to take your time off, check what's happening in the print medium of newspapers. Yeah. Let me share this crazy one with you. Adamawa man arrested for alleged sodomy of 4 minors. It's crazy. Okay, we are done with the Punch. Let's move to the Vanguard newspaper now. The lead story in the Vanguard would be this: hardship. We are all sitting on kegs of gunpowder. Former President Obasanjo is warning us here. Okay. Shadow government, my hands primed for DSS's handcuffs, not scared of death. Pat Utomi. Of course, you know the DSS has taken Professor of Political Economy, Professor Pat Utomi, to court because he has dared to announce the formation of a shadow government. He says he's ready for the DSS, ready to be handcuffed. Interesting read for you in the Vanguard this morning. Yeah, more news. Deportation. Trump accuses Supreme Court of blocking what I have elected to do. Well, the bystander is bound to reflect that Donald Trump was elected to lead Americans, not elected to deport anybody or any group. Okay. 27-year-old man shot dead, 3 others injured in Bayelsa. The crazy times continue in my country, your country. Why was he killed? The details can be got in the Vanguard for today. Okay. I just told you about President Trump and the United States. This other story says U.S. Supreme Court blocks Trump in his bid to resume deportations. All right then. All right. Troops of 6th Brigade, OPSH, neutralize bandits, recover 1,000 rustled cattle in Taraba. More political news. Expose us. Labour Party's Nenadi Usman dares Abure over threats. This is continuing the unsettling saga in the Labour Party. Nenadi Usman is daring Barrister Abure, who threatened to eject them from the party. Labour Party crisis, another story, another angle. Group accuses Abure of implementing APC's agenda. Can you imagine that? Yeah. The blame game also extends to political parties. Now you know. Okay, 2027. APC, PDP, LP involved in coalition to to stop Tinubu's re-election. Did you get that? 2027, APC, PDP, Labour Party involved in coalition to stop Tinubu's re-election. This is according to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Okay. Threats won't fix PDP crisis. Respect court ruling. Abba Moro tells Southeast Caucus. Of course, you recall that the Southeast Caucus had said or threatened to leave the party if Ude Okoye was not returned as the national secretary of the party. And so the gulf in the party seems to be expanding. Okay. Two NNPP, one PDP rep defect to APC. So the defection saga continues in my country, your country. Read about the latest in the Vanguard this morning. Finland charges Simon Ekpa with inciting terrorism. So Finland is finally bearing its fangs regarding Nigerian Simon Ekpa, who appears to be stoking trouble from his Finland base. So that country has made to charge Simon Ekpa with inciting terrorism. It's 22 and a half minutes past 7 in the city of Lagos, as indeed around Nigeria. But here we are dealing with newspaper headliners. From here, the Voice of the People radio. And I'm sharing newspaper headliners with you. Okay. Woman drugs nursing mother seals 2-month-old baby. The crazy times continue in my country. So where is this story set in? The details can be got in the Vanguard for today. All right. 5 in police net for allegedly stealing and selling 2-week-old baby. As I said earlier on, sometimes you wonder if what you read in the papers are true. Well, They are supposed to be true stories. Otherwise, the papers won't report them. Let's move to the Nation newspaper this morning. The lead story is this one. FAAC, as the Federal Allocations and Account Committee, distributes 1.681 trillion naira for April to federal government, the states, and the local governments. Specifically for the local governments, I'm wondering if the revenues to them will get to them. You must understand what I mean here. Yeah. Okay. Other stories to pick from in the Nation this morning include this. Peace, stability require inclusive governance. President Tinubu is telling us. And this tragic one, 13-year-old boy drowns at Abuja. What part of town is this taking place in? The Nation has the details for you. Okay. Federal government committed to expanding ENT healthcare access, tackling brain drain. Vice President Kashim Shettima is sharing that with us. Tinubu meets security chiefs in Aso Villa. Yes, such a meeting is needed at a time like this. All right then. More stories on politics here. APC Forum backs Tinubu's NCDC nominee, dismisses protesters as impostors. We are Nigeria's political bride, SDP boasts. That's a big read for you in the Nation today. The Social Democratic Party telling you and I they have become the political bride. Beg your pardon. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Okay. Let's share this with you. Obasa's son deserves to succeed me. Obasa, Mudashiru Obasa, you realize or you know, is the Speaker of the Lagos House. His son is in the news. His son deserves to succeed me. A Lagos Council chairman is informing us. The details can be got in the Nation newspaper this morning. All right. Can we nick in Robin another story here? Still in the Nation. Leah Sharibu's mother marks daughter's 22nd birthday in captivity. The story of Leah Sharibu's journey into captivity, if you recall, takes us back to the year 2009, when the Chibok girls were moved into captivity by kidnappers, you know. So she's spending her 22nd birthday in captivity. All right, we have the sun now. The sun is here. Another angle to the story credited to Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Akpabio predicts end of political parties by 2027. What exactly is he talking about? You'll get the details if you read the story in the Sun today. Yeah. Water crisis. Sokoto communities get relief from philanthropists. Can we afford a water crisis? Okay. Public apology. Islamic cleric urges Nigerian leaders to emulate Oloyede. Oloyede, if you recall, Professor Ishak Oloyede is the boss of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. He made a public apology regarding the faux pas in JAM that's having to do with UTME exams. So, an Islamic cleric is asking Nigerian leaders to emulate the professor. Cultism. Diri orders NDU Vice Chancellor to expel culprits. Dealing with cultism in my country has become another mountain to climb. So, get the details in the Sun for today. Hear this one. Edo youths rally support for Tinubu's re-election bid, vows 2 million votes. You trust the youths, but get the details in the Sun newspaper this morning. Okay. Shadow government. I submit myself. Death is no big deal. Utomi to the DSS. Well, perhaps to the newcomer, you need to know that Professor of Political Economy, Pat Utomi, is going through a rough patch, if you ask me. The DSS has instituted a lawsuit against him regarding his shadow government announcement. Okay. NANS, the National Association of Nigerian Students, protests in Abuja over alleged sexual harassment sexual harassment of students by Foye. That's a Vice Chancellor of the Federal University in Ekiti. Please get the details in the Sun this morning. All right. From the Sun, we'll move to the Guardian now. 26 minutes to 8, that's the time. 68% of Nigerian women do not own a smartphone. That's what a minister is telling you. Which minister is this? Why is he saying this? Is he right with the figures? 68% of Nigerian women do not own a smartphone. He must understand the dynamics. Okay, ECOWAS ministers unite to strengthen trade, industry, investment cooperation. Right. This is the time. The trade war provoked by the United States is biting. And so this is an opportunity for countries, this time in the sub-region, ECOWAS sub-region, to diversify. The ministers are uniting to strengthen trade and investment cooperation. The Naira ends the week strong against the dollar. Is this cheering news? What are the details? The Guardian supplies the answer today. Okay. I've told you about this before. FAAC, federal government, states, local government share 1.68 trillion naira revenue in April. Okay. More stories in the Guardian. Defense chief urges Nigerians to report security personnel misconduct. Yeah. The defense chief wants sanity within its ranks, so it's urging you to report a misconduct by any security personnel in its ranks. So get the details in the Guardian this morning. Azigboro, Nigeria's first secessionist before Ojukwu. That's another story that should interest you. Of course, you remember that the Niger Delta Avengers, the team formed by the late Isaac Adaka Boro, provoked the 12-day standoff between the Avengers and the federal government on February 23rd, 1966. That's something interesting to read this morning in The Guardian. Isaac Boro, Nigeria's first secessionist before Ojukwu. All right, another story to share. Armored cable vandal electrocuted in Jigawa. Did the good book not talk about those who live by the sword, dying by the sword? So vandalizing an armored cable is akin, if you ask me, to living by the sword. Yeah. Lagos seals religious centers, hotels, and others for noise pollution. There's an organ of government in Lagos whose business it is to tackle noise pollution in the state. So the body has sealed some religious centers, hotels, and others for pollution. Okay. Pope Francis, the bridge builder of mercy, hope, and peace. Pope Francis, you recall, is the last but one Catholic pontiff and the first South American. But the current pontiff, you recall, Leo XIV, is the first American to occupy the office. The details are in the Punch. We'll shift now to the Nigerian Tribune. Just gone 20 minutes to 8. The Tribune leads with this. FAAC, as a Federation Accounts and Allocation Committee, shares 681 trillion naira for April amongst the federal government, the states, and the local government. I'm more bothered about the allocation to local governments. Will the allocations get to them? All right. Some more stories in the Tribune. Nigeria formally joins European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Okay. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is established to tackle those two requirements. If Nigeria has joined the bank, is that a plus? The details can be got in the Tribune for today. Governor Sani establishes world-class lithium processing plant in Kaduna. Nigeria is rich in lithium. That helps in technological advancement and related stuff. So Governor Sani has established a world-class processing plant in Kaduna for lithium. I'm a northerner, NNPCL boss, Ojulari is telling you. If you didn't know, now you know. I am a northerner, according to the NNPCL boss, Ojulari. All right? Obasa's son deserves to succeed me, Lagos Council Chair. Who is the council chairman in question? The details you can get in the Tribune if you probe. Federal government approves establishment of armed forest guards. You heard the other day that a total of 130,000 forest guards have been established by government. The idea is to help flush out criminal elements, especially insurgents, bandits, and other merchants of death in my country. Okay. EFCC arrests ex-Kaduna government contractor over alleged 30 billion naira fraud. Well, those of you who think the EFCC is not doing enough need to interrogate that story. Get the details in the Tribune today. EFCC arrests ex-Kaduna government contractor over alleged 30 billion naira fraud. I have one last story here, not the least, to share with you. Customs generate over 154 billion naira on excise duty in 4 months. That, I think, is a happy one. The Customs and Excise was established to perform such functions. All right, folks, that will do it for newspaper headliners, which we shared with you. Time to hand over the microphone to you. The number is 0803 692 9933. I have a first phone call here. A first listener is reaching us. So I want to say good morning to you. The line is free, as I said, 0803 692 9933. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, can you hear me? Which story or stories interest you? How would you react to it or to them? Let's go there. Take advantage. We are handing over the microphone to you for 60 seconds. Hello, good morning. We seem to be having a glitch here. We're working to fix it. Zero 0803 692 9933. Good morning. Hello, good morning to you.
Morning.
Yeah. Please put off your radio so we have a smooth conversation.
Can you hear me?
Welcome, I can. Go on.
All right. This is Alpha. I'm calling from AJ. I just want to say that I just want to sympathize with those that lost their life. The young man that got gone in Abuja. I don't have the details, but I had it on with it in the headline. I just want to say sorry for the family. And also the young woman that chopped off her, I don't know, in River State, in Port Harcourt, in River State, I don't know what they are thinking. This time around is not the time for them to begin to, do that kind of thing. We're supposed to be hearing some good news, not this kind of news in Nigeria right now. So I don't have much to say. I just want to say
thank you.
You guys are doing a good job.
Thank you,
The
Afam.
radio stations, I listen to it every now and then and every day by day.
Thank you, Afam. Thank you. Yeah.
Good work you're doing. So keep it up. God bless you. Have a weekend.
Thank you very much. I'll take another call here. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Citizen Jones.
I greet you.
Yeah, my name is Peter Usifu. I'm calling from Abanaje in Kotum.
Go on.
Yeah, concerning the apology of JAM registrar, I think it's commendable. But my advice that the CBE, that is computer-based examination, should be optional. Many people, many students are not yet good in computer. So, if possible, those people who want to, do the paper examination, just as it was done in those days, should be allowed to do that. Then, for the compulsory voting, I think that policy by the National Assembly is dictatorial. It goes against our fundamental human rights.
Peter Osifo, I didn't share any story regarding that today.
Okay, sorry, let me go last to the one I want to talk about. Professor Patu Tomi's shadow government. I think it's a theory that is being propounded by Patu Tomi in the presidential system of government. It only happens in cabinet system of government. But
Thank you. Osifo, 60 seconds are up. Thank you. But we got you first time. Thank you. Please make your reaction. You can do it inside 60 seconds. I think you can. Yeah.
Mr. Jones.
Hello, good morning to you.
This is Okangolina.
Okay then.
The Edo youth are promising Tinubu 2 million votes and they are rallying support for him. I want to ask them, what have you gained between the time the man came into office and now? Is it that the rice that you were buying at reduced price? Maybe rice was 30,000 for a time, and the rice is now 7,000. That we were buying 200 naira during Buhari, now it's 100 naira. So they should tell us why they are rallying support, or somebody is just giving them money somewhere to come and make that kind of announcement. Because in this Nigeria, anything can happen. Tell us why you are rallying support for him, or you are just doing it for nothing. When you have not gained anything, people are suffering, people are dying, hunger is everywhere, and you are rallying support. Tell us why you are rallying that support. Thank you.
Thank you too. 0803-692-9933. That's the line to exploit. What story or stories?
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. Welcome.
Yes, I'm Moses calling from Alata Major.
Okay then.
I want to go on the statement created to the next president that there will be no political parties after 2027. If the Senate president is saying that there will be no political parties in 2027, he's saying that there will be no APC, PDP, MPP, Labour Party, and the other parties. I think the DSS should also arrest him because he's saying that there will be no, if there's no party in Nigeria, he's talking about military government. So the DSS should also arrest Ekpa for saying that there will be no political parties. He's not separated. He's not saying there will be no other political parties except APC. So if you put it that there will be no political parties So the government should arrest Ekpa for calling for military. Thank you.
Yeah. Read the story, get the context. Thank you. Yeah. We have come to the end of the exercise. Let's apply the brakes here. There's always another Saturday. More news to share in the papers. Thank you for your attention. Our next show is 5 minutes away. Good morning one more time. Okay, folks, let's move into the second offering for today. We know it simply as Citizen Jones this morning. What we do is interrogate issues that get thrown up by my country, your country. We look at the many sides to the issue. Don't just rely on gut reactions, or hearsay. Today, Professor Utomi in hot water. DSS sues him over parallel government suspicion. Get it right. For Professor of Political Economy and former presidential candidate of the African Democratic Party, ADP, Dr. Professor Patrick Okedinachi Utomi, these are bad days. The Buzo-born academic stirred the hornet's nest when he recently announced the formation of a 39-member or 39-man shadow government. Now, let's tell you that a shadow government, also known as cryptocracy, secret or invisible government, and common in parliamentary democracies around the world, is based on the UK parliamentary tradition. It is based on the theory that real and actual power resides not only with publicly elected representatives, but with private individuals who are exercising power behind the scenes. The Department of State Services, the DSS, has filed a lawsuit against Pat Utomi, accusing him of attempting to establish a so-called shadow government in Nigeria. Before the head goes to town with their narratives, please stop and rationalize the issues. Know the facts. I have two gentlemen to broach the subject matter with you. Let's meet and greet them. Efyong Young is a journalist, a sports commentator, a national affairs analyst. Efyong, I greet you. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Citizen Jones.
My second discussant is a chartered accountant, political commentator, Tumi Olowe. Tumi, I greet you.
Good morning, Citizen Jones. Good morning to our listeners, wherever they are in the world.
Yeah, gentlemen, I've laid you understand the issue. So let's go to town. Who takes the lead off?
Well, as contained in your prologue, the shadow government concept stems from the parliamentary system of government. But let's understand what it is. It's about the opposition taking or sharing themselves or giving themselves tasks in different departments of government, in terms of ministry, in terms of one in agriculture, justice,
defense, finance, and so on.
And the idea is largely to look at what government is doing, analyze them, not necessarily coming to the public to criticize, but proffering solutions, looking at alternative ways of doing things or how things could be better done than what government is doing. On the surface of it, I do not think that there's anything wrong with the issue of having a shadow government. It is permissible in a parliamentary system. And within political parties, the political parties should be able to establish such departments in their parties to look at what government is doing, so that their criticism of government can be more constructive, better informed through research and proper analysis, and not jump on the train, this is yes or no, this is bad, this is hate, this is that and all. But having said that, under the federal, for the kind of federal government we run, or the Nigerian style democracy that we run, it's not something that is permitted, at least publicly. So for me, I do not think anything that Patrick Utomi has done anything wrong, except for the announcement. Maybe if he had kept quiet and go ahead to do and send out his releases and engaging the government constructively and doing his criticism after such research, proper research would have been done, would have been better agreed upon. But this is also not the first time. I recall also during the days of President Goodluck Jonathan, former President Goodluck Jonathan, Rotimi Amici actually announced that they were going to take over government, they were going to form a parallel government with, for whatever reason, the elections of 2015 wasn't in the favor of the All Progressives Congress. And the DSS at the time, or security networks at the time, did not do anything. So a lot of these things happen because of the level of impunity, no accountability. Everything is done maybe reactionary, in reactionary formats, not giving people the essence of what it is that the people intend. So that would be my opening statements.
Yeah, please know that the DSS alleges that Professor Utomi is the sole defendant in the case. It is only Utomi that's answerable here. Go on.
There's a remarkable difference between a parliamentary system and a presidential system. And so far, so good. Nobody has been denied the right to hear their opinion or criticize the government or make suggestions to the government with regards to that person's opinion of whichever area of government the person has interest in. Be that as it may, there is nowhere in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria where it is a provision is made for shadow government. One has to understand the environment that one is living in, or the particular period that the society is at. Utomi had contested for presidency in the country before. He was actively involved in the last election cycle behind the Labour Party candidate. And Utomi used to have a group, Partitos Gang, where they talk about issues, profile solutions, and stuff like that. So Utomi is not unaware of the ways he can get his message across to government. And if one has looked at the rhetorics even coming from him after he was sued to court by the government, he calls for questioning, because maybe the normal Nigerian practice would have been for DSS to pick him up and maybe start interrogating, but they just took him to court to come and explain himself for the pronouncement that he has made, and I saw that.
To me,
let me finish.
Government has cited sections 1,
yes,
1.1,
yes,
1.2,
because
1.4,
those
and 2A
yes,
of the Constitution.
Those sections laid out the offices empowered by the Constitution to govern Nigeria. And I've read Utomi saying that that he's out of the country at the moment, and that he's going to coming to the country on June 12. He's going to go to Abiola's residence, and that he's ready to be handcuffed the matter never reached anchor of matter. You've been sued to court. So just get your lawyers and go to court and go and defend yourself. There is no point eating up the polity or creating unnecessary tension in an already heated up environment. We still have Boko Haram, we still have terrorists, we still have kidnappers and everything happening. And I would rather our elites be careful. It's unfortunately when these people make all these utterances, they have their own assets, children, future secured. I've not seen any of them making these things and I'm seeing their children beside them or their children leading the charge. It's all the children of the masses that are going to be used to as cannon foders or as pawns for whatever reason that might be driving their desire. So he's always had the opportunity to criticize, to make suggestions. But going ahead to now form a shadow government, an assigned portfolio to individuals, it's for me it's going a little bit out of line, because once the handshake starts passing the elbow, one has to start asking questions. What is happening? And then followed up by the rhetoric that is coming from him. He's ready to die. If you are just interested in making your suggestion, make your suggestion. It is not compulsory that the government has to listen to your suggestion.
All right. Effiong, is the bystander, is wondering if Professor Tommy is possibly acting alone.
Well, I think since he's been identified as being a lone ranger, and he's been sued in that capacity, and we let it unfold. You see, Nigeria is a very interesting country. A drama a day or a drama every hour. You expect the title of the drama to change as you go by.
Sorry, as a matter of fact, a cynic of a friend, said, what happens in Nigeria, my country, your country, makes you think you are watching a poorly produced horror film.
Well, beyond horror, because you see, when things are happening from every angle, you ask yourself so many questions, and it's simply because people, especially those in leadership positions, refuse to be sincere to themselves, to everybody, you get, and they spew all of those things into the domain of the public for people to agree with. Now, I've seen Patu Tomi all through for as long as he came into limelight, from his days as a whiskey, as managing director of Volkswagen, prompted by people like M.K. Abiola and the rest of them. And observing him through
became the youngest advisor to a president in this country.
Yes, and I also saw him during the days of Saving Nigeria Group, where they held shoulders when people probably would have wished that maybe that time should probably come back, when all of them, they marched to the streets and did all they could to pull down the institution rather than support the institution to evolve properly. But here we are. Now, having said that, each time we also look at Nigeria as a federation, you begin to wonder what kind of federation this is. Nigeria is more of a unitary system government. Maybe that's why Patu Tomi is thinking that the shadow government would have been in place, because there's nothing federal about the Nigerian Federation in real terms. Nigeria still runs as a unitary command structure. Nigeria still runs a unitary command structure from the president. And that's why you could hear a Senate president come up to say there'll be no parties when blah, 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 and all of those kind of things. Because they don't see it. So when we cite the Constitution to suit ourselves, it begs the question. I would rather think that one, the DSS, like to me, observed, surprised me or shocked me when they went to court. I recall when we said this off the mic sometime, I said, that they would have just gone and pick the man up because we know the tradition of the DSS and other law enforcement agencies in Nigeria. They pick you up and you start the story you start your defense from prison or from the detention center. That they opted to go to court is one thing that shocks me. Because again, I also think that we escalate too many things unnecessarily. Now, part of me, I want to believe that is maybe having fun, or just on the top of his head wakes up to say the things he's saying. I would rather die. What's pushing you to death? I can't understand. Because
he's waiting. His hands are waiting for the handcuffs.
Yes, and you see, it's beautiful that some of the things that are happening in Nigeria is more like running full cycle to a point where Ekpa who was a member of the from Patito's gang to the Save Nigeria group to all of these things, he's always been protesting from that time till now. And if you join the team or group of persons to save Nigeria, and in saving Nigeria, Nigeria has been brought to this divide, you should have had a communication system or a communication plan or a communication format, or I'm sure you will have the phone numbers or the access to your Save Nigeria comrades who are now in power to tell them that we are not saving this Nigeria, let us go this other way. Now, to begin to stir the public opinion in the direction of bringing something that's alien to the federational constitution, as it were, it be something else that I seem not to understand. But within the context of my explanation, my opener, I did say that, well, if it's for the purpose of doing analysis so you can constructively engage, you do not need any announcement, which is where I fault the entire process. Other than that, a lot of us political parties are extreme this government, and they've always been doing so. I know that the People's Democratic Party, they have the People's Democratic Institute that has been there even when the PDP were in power. I also know that the APC has structures that they used to x-ray government while they were in opposition. Whether they still do now, I don't know. But these are structures that are within the political party system because they need to access, they need to criticize, they need to do analysis, they need to do research, they need to do all of those things. But it's not something you come to the public and begin to drag the public into, to get into your, how do I put it now? I mean, for short of what words to use.
Making a show of,
yes,
making a public show.
Yes, I just think that's what it is.
I'll differ a bit with the structure of Nigeria. You see, our elites have, and I think it works in the favor of the people at the state level, to keep repeating that we run a unitary government. The president cannot run a state for a governor. And this has allowed our governors since 1999 to get away with blue murder. The governor makes his own budget. And we have seen governors make budgets and use 3 or 4 members of their House of Assembly to pass those budgets. We are a federation. The governors are so powerful that they override the constitution anyhow, and the populace just overlook it. The last governor of Edo State ran the state with half of the assembly members. And nothing
refused to inaugurate 14 elected members.
So I mean, well, you think that
be told it is democracy.
You think that the president should have called him to order, but the president doesn't have the constitutional power to call such a governor that had decided to misuse his power to order.
Yeah, to me, please permit me. Let me ask Effiong: is there any such thing as a Nigerian type democracy?
Oh yes. The Nigerian type democracy is democracy that the kind of democracy that you wake up and do as you wish, and now only go to cite the constitution. You now only go to ask the people to go to court. It is impunity all the way, and people justify what they want. People do what they care, and it's either you are in tune or not. So if, as long as it serves the interest of the individuals who pretend to be at war, when they come, when it's at noonday, and at night they all fraternize. I mean, Jones, you and I, as journalists, we know these things and we've seen these things through time. And when I say when we talk about the Nigerian style democracy, it's the type that you wake up, pronouncements are made before people think. People take sides and do the kind of anything they want because they have either the ear of the president, the ear of they have the courts in their pocket, or they have everything they do, they just do as they wish. That's Nigerian style democracy, because there are certain things that wouldn't have happened at all because you would say, oh, this will not be acceptable. But whether it's acceptable or not, as long as it's in the interest of whoever is powerful enough to push it, they drive it. And if you're a chief executive and you try to obey the law, they say he's a weak man because he's not able to. They say he would have that the Nigerian president is the most powerful president in the world. He could have done this, he could have done that, but because the person tries to adhere to some level of civility.
Not let Trump hear.
So the reality is everybody has their powers defined under the Constitution.
My problem with this Constitution, to me, this Constitution that we talk about, you will see it brazenly, but the interpretation, at every other point, you will sit back to look at the Nigerian Constitution, there's always a vague clause.
Well, even for the clauses that are very clear, and that is why I'm saying we as citizens need to be careful the narrative that our elite shoves down our throats, because at the end they know, as long as they want to remain as elected officials, they know the people have the power. But unfortunately, they also know that the people don't think.
Let me play Jones here. These people, do they have any powers at all?
Yeah.
How?
Okay. Nigerians have moved against particular laws being effected at the National Assembly, and the National Assembly backed down.
Like which one?
There was this, I think, to control social media. They ensured that law was not passed. So, but you see, the problem is that most Nigerians, most of us we are looking for somebody to lead us, to take charge of our own individual decisions becomes a problem for us. So during election cycle or election period, you start hearing Nigerians asking, who are we voting for? Why should you be asking me who you are voting for? You're in Nigeria. You live here. You experience everything. You should be able to a reasonable extent, analyze situations in the country as it affects you, as it affects your environment, and decide that this man, yes, I can vote for him. But it's bandwagon. And you will notice it. Nigerians don't read details. Headlines. Just put an headline, and when you go into the body of the report, it's a totally different report from the headline. But the Nigerian populace will run with that headline, and then maybe when the damage has been done, they will not remember that. Okay, but our elites also understand that, so they throw the headlines to us. We will not read, and they'll be using that to control us. So they say the president is so powerful, but your governor will do a budget. He will do the budget for 4 years
and give it titles, and
nobody in the state,
like his own
yes,
former
and nobody in the state will ask how he has implemented that budget. The only thing that we are interested in is it's the president. He's so powerful. So it's the national budget that concerns us, the one that affects us immediately. We don't bother about it because we have been sold the idea that they don't matter. The only person that matters in this country is the president. The local government chairman is there. They are now earning more money, all of them. But local government as in allocation.
No. State government.
Local government. Double what they were collecting before.
You see, John said a while ago, if Nigerian style democracy or federation. On paper, yes, the local government are earning so much money. In reality, the local governments do not touch any money that the governor does not give them.
Good.
No, wait. That is Nigerian style.
And now,
democracy.
so
Wait now.
okay.
Nigerian style democracy is that tells you that these are ports across the coastal lines of Nigeria. Calabar, in Calabar you have EPZ, you have NPA, in Port Harcourt you have ONE, you have Warri, you have Koko, you have all that. But none of these ports work. The only ports that work out of about 10 or more in Nigeria are Tinkan and Apapa. Everything happens surreptitiously, you can't explain them.
All right,
Because-
please let me announce the time. It's 8:30 a.m. On VOP. And the issue we're discussing on Citizen Jones today is Professor Utomi in hot water. The DSS sues him for mooting the idea of a parallel government, or if you
A
like,
shadow government.
a shadow government.
So, local government, an executive order was given by the last president to give them independence. It didn't work.
Financial autonomy.
Financial autonomy. Then this president came and then went to the Supreme Court and got a judgment. We Nigerians have been saying decent.
You'll conclude in a moment. You'll conclude in a moment.
Okay.
Sorry. You'll continue in a moment. After the president had gone to the Supreme Court and gotten judgment, the same president now invites the governors, holds a meeting with them, and tells them to go and take charge of their local government, that it is their property.
He didn't. They asked for time to readjust because they've been collecting money together. So they say, give us time to adjust. A whole lot of them try to make laws to still maintain the status quo, but they've been advised that those laws will not work. But it's not even the governors I'm concerned about. It is us Nigerians. We can complain from now to kingdom come.
You mean us Nigerians, the bystander,
Yes.
the everyday Nigerian?
Because who is he going to favor if the local government have financial autonomy? The citizens. It's the citizens that will also tell you that the president is powerful. It's the citizens that will be complaining that we should what's that our popular lingo? We should reorganize Nigeria. I always keep forgetting that
Restructure.
restructure. But we are restructuring Nigeria, and then all of a sudden, we are not bothered whether those laws will be obeyed. It does not concern us if the governors would leave the local government alone.
Obeyed in the observance or in the breach. Yeah, but hold on. To me, my colleague Effiong said governors were powerful. Governors, they are very powerful.
Yeah.
Effiong, do you know that no president in this country constitutionally has a right to sign a death warrant? Only a governor can.
Only a governor, yeah.
But how many governors have signed death warrants, and so many prisoners are awaiting the hangman?
And that's why the crime rate keeps going up, because there is no deterrent.
And
they know that the governors will not sign.
They know what's happening.
And then you see,
Because a lot of them have become apostles and
then with this local government thing I'm saying,
The whole thing appears to be a charade.
part of it was that if you do not have elected local government officials, the disbursement for the local government will not be made to that state. And then we saw a flurry of activities.
Only Delta State.
Every state started going.
Only Delta State is going by that ruling.
No,
Supreme Court.
they're all doing election. Okay, as in allowing them to take their money.
Yes,
But what I'm
only
saying
Delta.
is they all have now gone to have elected officials. At least they've done the, whether crook or means, they've made sure that they've gone through an electoral
You know
process.
that you are agreeing with me that we have our own style of democracy.
And I'm saying that the people are also, we are also part of it, because when we are supposed to now band together and support the thing that will favor us, because the people that we are waiting to lead us, that thing does not meet their interest, they will keep quiet. We too will decide and fold our arms. As long as we do not
I need to understand you.
local government financial autonomy. the people of the respective states or local government are not doing anything to ensure that the governors observe that rule.
Yeah, gentlemen, the thrust of this discussion is the shadow government.
Yes, it's part of understanding.
Okay, you
why
are digression.
It's part of understanding why it is so convenient and easy for someone to come out with the idea of forming a parallel government. And if you have gone onto the social media space, a whole lot of Nigerians are supporting him, which is within their right. And I'm saying, but I have not seen that support from Nigerians to ensure that their local governments are free. So it is.
How would they express?
But they're not expressing support. Just as they are expressing support for this parallel government, is the way they can also make sure that their voice are heard.
Shadow government.
Or shadow government.
Yeah.
Is the same way that they can lend their voice in their respective states and respective local governments.
Shadow government is also known as cryptocracy.
Yes, to ensure that I can see the comments. I can hear the support. I can see the support. I have not seen support for local government autonomy from the people that are going to be the most that is going to be beneficial to. So Nigeria is the way we are sleeping on our bed the way we have laid it. But we would look for the most convenient and available person or organ to blame for our own inactivities.
All right, gentlemen, let's make it more a dialogue, not a monologue. Let's involve the listener. Dear listener, if you feel up to raising new issues or what we have not broached at all, do so now. 0803-692-9933. I have a listener here. Good morning to you. Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
I don't think you joined from the beginning. If you did, I gave a prologue. A prologue is it gives the tone for the discussion. A shadow government or secret or invisible government, common in parliamentary democracies, is based on the theory that real and actual power resides in not only publicly elected representatives, but with private individuals. I'm not talking about El Rufai. Are you listening to me? Maybe you are listening to a different radio station. Please. Sorry. You are not listening to Voice of the People. Please. I'm not talking El Rufai. Please.
You see, this problem called the stomach and its infrastructures, or infrastructure if you like.
Apologies to Fayeshe.
Yes, has taken its toll into too far. Some of us in Lagos may not really understand what hunger is. When you visit local governments in far-gone places, you probably will now begin to understand why one doesn't agree with them, why everybody seems to be quiet. And the political class, the elite, have done so well for themselves. But every time it is our turn, it is my turn, it's a Christian, it's a Muslim, from the north, from the south, so people can get into office, misbehave as much as they can, Knowing that these people are hungry, they now get some noodles, some packaged rice, some packaged beans, and distribute to people who will chant their names. And because the people themselves, with due respect to the vocal ones amongst them, can't think. And I saw they chant slogans based on this person is from, it's like those of inter-house sports. This person is from Red House, this one is from Green House. And because the person is Red House, the person, you have to vote for Red House. Because so you begin to understand, listening to the newspaper review this morning, some group of persons were already endorsing the president, some endorsing the governors, and you are asking yourself, what are you endorsing? 2 years into a 4-year first term, one would have expected the people to be looking at a scorecard. What have they done in this sector? What are they doing in that sector? What are our expectations?
Yeah.
But what you have are endorsements.
Yes, because you see, and that's what I'm saying. If the foundation is not good, and for me the foundation is from your doorstep, and that's your local government. These people endorsing the president don't even know who their councillor is, not to talk of their local government chairman.
Sorry. Let me take a listener. Good morning to you. Yeah.
Good morning.
Thank you, Officer. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
It would be silly of the DSS to now arrest somebody that they've already sued to court. I think if they were going to arrest him, they would have done that. But they've gone ahead. They've sued him to court, and I'm sure that the councils of Patitomi will have been served court summons. So it's for him to go and appear in court on the day of the trial.
Well, I wait for the drama.
Professor Tomi had said he has about 500 lawyers
So
to defend him.
let the legal battle
So, yeah,
go on.
we expect fireworks. Okay, let me take another listener here. Good. Welcome. There is nothing like what? Me. I said. I. No be me. Oh. Thank you.
You've had the opportunity to call in this morning and hear your view, and you've made your point. But you've been responsible in your speech, so that is free speech, and nobody is coming to knock on your door to arrest you for calling in and contributing on the radio. So there is free speech, and there's also responsibility with free speech. So if you make a speech that is going to get you into trouble, you will get into trouble. But nobody has stopped anybody from commenting on activities. And people have made a whole lot of, we see it in the newspapers every day, we hear it on reports every day. And how many people have been locked up because of that? Try most of these things we do in Nigeria. Go and try it in Rwanda, just around the corner. And then you understand the difference between the what a free speech mean and when you don't have free speech.
Okay. Just yeah.
It's interesting to see the way we unfold. To me, mention I think the word restructuring at some point. Me, I still very much believe that Nigeria requires a whole lot of restructuring. I believe that Nigeria needs a whole lot of education or orientation for us to understand the nature of such restructuring. Nigeria's, the powers, the way things happen in Nigeria calls for a whole lot of questions. And sometimes even the informed gets very, very confused. Listening to the newspaper reports today, this morning, we also had issues about people defecting, moving from one party to the other. Now, if you go to the Constitution and see the Constitution explains those that can defect and under what terms and conditions that they have to defect. And the persons that are defecting are people that are supposed to be making the laws, people that should understand the Constitution at the federal, at the state levels, the state National Assembly and at the state assemblies. These are the people defecting, and the Constitution frowns against it because the conditions are there. But do they obey or go by the Constitution? The answer is no. How are they punished? They cannot be punished because they have all defected to the ruling party. So when these things happen and these things are permitted, it tells you that we are probably not just ready. There's need to restructure. Even the minds and brains of a whole lot of Nigerians needs to be restructured if possible. Because and I term it our own kind of democracy, our own kind of federalism, because the things that happen here don't happen anywhere.
All right,
for the places that we've seen.
Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
He is a professor of political economy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So you see, and you can't blame them because they also protect their interests. So the law was made that for you to be able to defect, because they know that they will defect. Just ensure that you can establish that there is a faction in your political party. And pick PDP, pick Labour Party. There are factions there. So based on that caveat, those people are defecting. 3 factions of Labour Party wrote LISEC to come and witness their primary election in Lagos State. So there.
These things we look at it through time. For instance, between let me speak for the Labour man, certain Ekpa, representing a constituency in Cross River State. At the time he defected, all of these things have not happened. So, well, let me call.
Labour Party had been in court since the last election cycle.
Excuse me.
So there's been a faction in Labour Party.
Going to court does not mean that that there's a faction.
People were content.
No. I'm a politician.
There is a faction in Labour Party because one person is saying he's the head, the other is saying he's the head.
To me,
excuse me.
To me,
Let me tell
if you're here, contested the governorship.
You told me before.
Uh-huh.
Now, people going to court, you can have disagreement. That does not mean there's a faction. You can disagree. The law or INEC recognizes one Labour Party, recognizes the authorization, those ladies, remember, they recognize the party structure that can sign off a candidate to contest an election. That is the authentic party.
Yeah, but why we now have the other faction putting candidates forward?
Some of us insist that political parties have rules guarding whatever they do. But conducting business on the terms of those rules will give me sleepless nights.
No, you don't need to.
You understand?
You go to sleep. Well, if you feel sleepy, go to sleep. The point is, at what point do you establish that there's a faction?
So
in a party?
Now, when we have
that you have this, sorry,
A saying is chairman, the other saying is chairman, is that not a faction?
Excuse me. Anybody or set of persons can go to the media and make that announcement, and as long as they have their medium of expression, they will be heard. That does not establish the fact that there's a faction in that political faction.
Especially when both of them are calling for different elections. One will hold the election here, the other will hold the elections there.
Every party, as we speak, have such disagreements. Now, so for any of these individuals, it's very easy for anybody to cite any of these things as the reasons why he or she is moving. And again, I'm not saying that one faction is questionable. Secondly, for all of these things that happen, my term is that we have our own kind of democracy.
Definitely, because we always game the system.
This is where you see a celebration of people who ordinarily you think should be either in a sanatorium or going through some psychiatric attention.
And it's because the society also allows it.
Well, you see, the society has been caged. The society is at the mercy of these individuals. For every society, for instance, we have a society where individuals, or we are a people, because of our origins from the monarchical system.
If you are closing your thoughts, time is tight.
Well, because we have a system where, or we have evolved into a democracy where individuals have grown bigger than institutions. Individuals have grown bigger than the entire people.
Become more powerful.
Yes, such that those individuals, their words become law. And for you to turn around and blame the people for allowing them, it's like you are blackmailing the Nigerian.
No, I'm not blaming people.
Close your thoughts here.
Yes. Yoruba says, it is when we don't want to be responsible. And I keep saying that. We Nigerians don't like being responsible. We would easily look for the next available excuse and somebody to heap the blame on. Government.
Buck passing.
Anything government. Who are the government? My brother, your sister, uncles, that.
No.
You see, let me finish. And when you say government, name the individual on that particular desk that can be held responsible, that can be called out. Government is blanket. There is no individual that is being held responsible. That is the bane of Nigeria.
èèyàn ló wà lẹ́yìn òrù tó rò fi ń ké. Nobody can be bigger. A part can be bigger than the whole.
Okay. Gentlemen, time is tight. We must apply the brakes here, but not before thanking Tumi Olowe for your time.
Ma'am, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Efyong Yung for your intervention.
Great pleasure.
All right, folks, we are done. We'll be here on Saturday, today week. Bye-bye now.
Ouch.
Oh boy. Can you replicate what Ashiwa